Okay, perfect. We are live. Awesome. Welcome everyone to another What's Your Story? I am so excited about this week's guest. For those of you that are just joining us for the first time, my name is Marjorie Phoenix. I am the author of the book, Who the Hell Do You Think You Are? I'm the
Love.
founder and CEO of Giving Voices Project. And I am also the CEO of M Phoenix Incorporated. And that's where I work with people who want to use their voice and their story to make a difference. This platform is really about allowing voices to speak and to tell their story. I am very inquisitive and curious about people's stories. And so this gives me an opportunity to hear their story and to have them share it with you guys. So this week, this is someone that's near and dear to my heart because I have known her for quite some time now, even before I moved into the area. And so let me give her a proper introduction. Lea Tran, she is now an author. She is a dynamic keynote speaker, a human connector, and a community builder. She is a graduate of Villanova University, and she began her career actually as an organic chemist, where she worked with a pharmaceutical company for over 17 years, where she holds patents on various drug discoveries. Um, Prior to moving to Florida with her husband in 2015, Lea owned and operated a successful high-end window drapery business for 10 years. Lea now uses her knowledge, her experience, and her time to promote social developments and to inspire her audience not to miss the opportunity and to live fully in your potential. Her mission is to inspire people, to transform them, to help them step out of their shadow of fear and obligation, and to live a life of freedom, passion, and purpose. And listen, if when you read her book, you will understand where all of this comes from. Because What's Your Story is about people like Lea and myself who have taken our personal experience and we've used it to help others. Thank you for joining us today, Lea.
Well, thank you, Marjorie, for having me. This is quite an honor to be here.
Yes, yes. So we've been talking for a long time. You know, you and I met through Toastmasters, I believe it was, right?
I want to say that one of the networking group, and
It
then we
was a
saw each
network.
other, and
Yes.
then we saw each other at Toastmaster, and we are screaming, it's like, "Oh, I know you!"
Yes, and I'll never forget that night that you were there when I was competing in the international speech contest. It was so great to
Yes,
see a familiar face out there
I was
and to
cheering you
see you.
on down there. I was like nervous for you, but excited for you, and just like, oh, rooting for you so badly.
Yes,
And that was great to be on that stage. I imagine it must
yes,
feel.
yeah. Yeah, I so appreciate that. And I know, and since then, you know, you have I knew a little bit about your story and I knew that you were planning on writing a book. And I started reading your book and I have to tell you, it is beautifully written,
Oh,
Lea.
thank
It's
you, thank
very
you.
well written, and you have just taken the readers along on this journey with you from, and I mean, before you were born and looking at your family of origin. Because one of the things that you also said, and I can't remember where I read this, you made the comment about understanding some of the things that you're going through in life, how history can repeat itself. And if we don't stop and take a deep look at our roots,
Yeah,
we can't fully understand how those roots shape us.
right.
And so you sort of used the story from from your grandparents, right?
Yeah,
And you shared all of the values that they had and all of the trauma and the pain and the suffering and everything that they went through. So tell us just a little bit before I start to ask you some specific questions. Just tell us a little bit about what's your story.
Okay, so often I think it's so relevant nowadays because America is a place that where immigrants and refugees starting up. This nation is about the formation by immigrants, by people who come to this country just like me, hundreds of years ago, and still doing it today. And often that we don't really fully understand our roots because we have so many things that we have to worry about our day to day lives, to survive, to make a living, to care about our family, and to go on. There's no time for us to stop and pause and take a deep breath and see who actually am I? Like originally, who am I? And sometimes a little bits and pieces about your family history. You heard about your grandparents. You know a little bit about your parents. If you're lucky that your parents can live long enough to even just be with you. But for some of us that our parents just, certainly pass away and they took a lot of trauma in their lives that we didn't understand. So this book is actually to reconnect me with my own roots. And I'm hoping that this also would be out there helping people to take a deep look of what their family history is. So the only way you can move forward is to let go of all the drama, all the trauma, all the things that you were thrown into at no fault of anybody,
Yes.
right? We were born into certain circumstances. We didn't choose it. We didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
We just born into whatever, and we accept it. But to
Hmm.
accept it is one thing. To understand it, the only way to appreciate who you are and see your self-worth and see what your parent, your grandparent have done for you is to stand and look back and see the way that it shaped them and the way that how they shape you. And you have a choice to either take that and take all the good stuff that they give you and make it even better by making your choice of shaping your own. So this book is for me to reconnect and rediscover and also reinvent who I
Yeah.
am
I
based
love
on
that.
history.
I love that. Tell us about taking a step back and taking a deep dive into the your roots. For most of us, like I was planning a family reunion that we were supposed to have this year. We were
Right.
all going to go to the Bahamas, and of course, COVID changed
Yeah.
that. But prior to building up to that, I did a lot of research and started to look at the origin of my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as I started to put the pieces together, I saw that history was repeating itself in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. I saw some of the dysfunction and I saw some of the trauma, right? That
Mm-hmm.
sort of just finds its way and trickles down,
It
right?
is.
Like I always wondered like why was in my family most of the women my age were singled or divorced. And it was almost like they came from this history of women who were on their own. Even if they were married, they were still like
Yeah.
on their own, right?
Right.
And so these things just continue to happen. And so when you start to see that, okay, you can sort of put the pieces together, but it's
Right.
it's a little bit painful because then you're like, okay, I don't want to continue this. I don't want my children to continue this.
Right.
So what does that look like, right? To to
Okay.
to take that deep
So
dive
this
and then
one
to say,
phrase,
I'm stopping here.
right. This one phrase from Ashley Judge really make me think. She said, trauma not transform is trauma transfer. So if we don't understand the trauma, we are raised, we were born into the family, believe it or not, whatever value that you carry, there's a big part that is trickled down and instilled from your parents, from your grandparents, from your family, from the people that you surround yourself with. That's why they say it's very important to surround yourself with, the kind of people you want to be with. But when we were born into a family, we didn't have a choice, and we were raised in that environment. Now, for my family is a little different because my grandparents have moved, actually, from escaping China to Vietnam about the same time my dad escaping Vietnam out to the sea with us. So that is already, like, I did not even put that connection together until I wrote the book. And I'm tracing back. Oh my God, my grandfather was about my dad's age, in his early 40s. Took his family. My dad was only 3. Escaped from communists and famines and things in China to Vietnam. And my dad lost his dad when he was 10. My
Mm,
youngest brother was 10 when my dad passed away. So there's so many things. And
mm,
then, it's just like a cycle. And I think, for many family, that the way they see, like you said, that your family, some female are very strong and they raise you with that strong
mhm,
mindset. And
mhm.
somehow that those value instill it into you. So to break that cycle is the only way to understand it. And it was not an easy book to write because I really have to go trace back to my path, my route, my roots, to really analyze who exactly my grandparents was. And
Mm.
regrettably, I don't even know find where to find them. It's not like, in America you can just do your DNA and send it in, and then you get a report back. And we Chinese, we don't, lots of them were illiterate. They're uneducated people. They
Right.
are fishermen. They were in the small village. They can't even sign their own name. They put an X, and that's how they sign their name. So there's no way I can trace back. Or there's no way there's records for my grandparents, or who exactly I am. So the only way
Yes.
is I'm trying to dig out what my dad told me. And my dad passed away 30 some years ago. My mom have a very limited memories of things and I think she blocked out a lot of stuff because she went through a lot of trauma herself. And sometimes to survive, you have to block out all those traumas. You
Yes.
might forget it, but you never really lost it because it's
Right.
hidden under the
Yes.
rug,
It's a
and
part
you
of you.
struggle. It is part of
Yeah.
you, and you struggle. So
Yeah.
for me to actually do that, I have to gone through like a period of things that trying to dig really deep about who I was, and trying to make all the dots connecting, put all the puzzle pieces together. Now I can't say that whatever I'm supposed to presume that was the exact way it is, but at least it's give me some sort of answer for myself,
Yes.
and how I
Yeah.
can break out that cycle and be better for my son, so I don't pass that trauma to him. I don't want to transfer anything. The cycle is going to break right here with me, with you, with everyone
Yes.
who wants to do that.
Yes, yes, I love that. And I did put that quote up. I'm going to put that again. Trauma not transformed is trauma transferred. Yes, yeah.
Right.
And you can see that happening a lot in families when we choose not to properly deal with some
Right.
of the things that are happening, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, most
And the side
definitely.
effect is, there's a lot of side effect when you don't understand, because you live in resentment. You're not living free. You live in a
Yeah.
boundary of lack. You live in the
Yes.
boundary of fear. And
Yes. Yes.
and you don't break out. You don't really try to seek more opportunities because you think that, oh, that's how I'm not good enough because
Not for
um
you. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. 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 Most
Exactly.
definitely. Yeah. You know, it's so, I love having this conversation, particularly about our family of origin story, because a
Mhm.
lot of times when we talk about story, we're talking about this snapshot, this moment in
Yeah.
time of something that may have happened to us and that we experience. And then using that experience to, make a difference and do something in the world. But as you really look at the full, like that's a chapter, right,
Mhm.
of the story, the
Yeah.
book of your life, even before you were born. And this is what's so important about understanding that of who your grandparents were, or your great grandparents, or just as
Right.
far back as you can go, right?
Yeah.
And just sort of looking at that thread, that is all a part of me, and seeing
Hmm.
yourself, in your grandmother and your mother. And so I love the your grandmother, your mother's mother.
Oh, right.
You talked a lot about
Thank
her
you. Yeah.
as the strong woman, right? That
Yeah.
even your dad respected a lot. So, and you had an opportunity that a lot of us don't have now, is to be close to and grow up
Right.
around your family like that.
Right.
So, tell us a little bit about what that meant for you and some of the things that you were able to learn, um, being able to be that close to the elders in your family like that, and how close proximity you were to your grandparents.
Right. So I have to say that I am very lucky. I was able to spend the first 12 years with my maternal grandmother. And I've never met my dad's mom because she passed away in her 50, early 50, 51 to be exact. And my dad was only 24. But and I never see my father's side of the family, mom or dad, because they both like pass away very young. Um, and I was really lucky that I was able to spend the first 12 years with my mom's mom, and she was the matriarch. She is the one who everybody respect in the community. She was the one that we're a very nuclear family, and she's just a super wise woman because she has been in the business. She was a breadwinner for the family. My grandfather, my mom's dad, was disabled when he was really young, so he was
Yeah,
just a little bit of a behind the brain of the operation. But my grandmother was the one who actually doing it, thinking about it. So I have to say that even for 12 years of my life, I have watched how my grandmother operate and how much um, wisdom that she has passing on. So yes, my dad is a super super cool guy, except that he's got a lot of flaws too, just like all of us, right?
of course,
And
of course.
and when I trace him back, my dad's such a bad temper because his mom got really bad temper too. I mean, this is from the grapevine, and I can really believe it because where else did he get those trace
Yeah,
from?
yeah,
Watching his mom, and also that he's been through so much trauma that it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking, and he has to have somewhere to put an outlet. Not that it was right to put that outlet on your family, but
right,
that's what sometimes it happens when you don't understand the person and they don't have anywhere to let go. They can't bottle up because they're going to explode. And he died at 50 because he was bottling up so many things that causing physical sickness. So
right,
I was resent my dad a lot. I'm angry at him a lot, the way that he exploded easily. But then I really understand how much he has to endure to responsible for our family. So I mean that is how you come around and you turn that anger to into appreciation.
yes, yeah, most because, and you have to look at it this way, and I always say this with my parents. They did the best they could with what they knew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to look at them with human eyes, right? I know
Yeah.
we try to, you know, put them on a pedestal as our our,
Right.
our parents, but they're human and they're flawed. And then you have to look at the generation and the culture, which makes all the difference. And I remember reading when you talked about some of the encounters your mom and dad would have, right? And sometimes it would just be so enraging and violent. And, and even in the islands, that can be a thing with a married
Mhm.
couple who they've been
Yeah,
together 30, 40 years, right?
yeah,
And they live with it and they do it, and now the children see it and they see that as the way you handle
yeah. It's a
things,
normal way of life.
exactly,
It
but it's
shouldn't.
not healthy. They
Right.
didn't know then about marriage counseling and anger
No.
management
And
and you know
they were actually, I mean, sometimes we think we're the victim because we were born into this family, and I wish I couldn't. I wish, I have somebody else as my parents. It's like I want to walk away, blah blah blah. But
yeah,
we didn't realize that we are not the only victim. They were the victim that they couldn't do anything about, and they were the
yeah,
walking PTSD their whole life.
yes,
And they didn't even
yeah,
have that chance to debrief, to unpack what is wrong with that, because they didn't have the opportunity that we do.
yeah,
So thanks to
yeah,
them, we have that opportunity.
yeah,
Or else we were just going to repeating the same thing. But without them working so hard to bring us here to this day and age and to realize it, we probably will repeat the same thing, because ignorance is, when we don't have
mm,
that knowledge, it's so easily to repeat the cycle.
it is, yeah, it's a scary thing sometimes as I sit back and I look at some of the history, and I think to myself, I've got two girls of my own and I want better. I don't want them to
Yeah,
repeat some of these things. And so working on myself, right,
yeah, yeah,
is of the highest priority in my life. And so, what advice would you give to those that they come from a history of trauma and pain and struggle, right? There's different
yeah.
types of trauma, and everything
Right,
isn't violence.
right.
Um, but you've
Could be
had a hard
mental,
life,
could be
you know.
financial. Right.
Yes, financial. You've come from poverty,
Hmm.
all of these different things.
Right.
So what would you say to those that are they can look back and they can see that as part of their story, but they want to change that and they want that to stop now?
Yeah, I think the best thing is to understand it, and then research, have a knowledge of what quality you want to keep from your family that was giving it to you. I mean, I would never, my quality is work very hard. My parents are super hard workers, and I want to keep that. And they were frugal, they're thrifty, they never flaunt and never gloat. If they have anything, they always save it for tomorrow. So I mean, always like live within your means. Those are kind of quality I want to keep from my parents. Now, what I want to change whatever that they didn't understand that they could change, but I
Yeah.
could. um, to be a better person. I mean, my son made me a better person, but my son had no knowledge about his grandparents. So I want to
Mm,
make sure that he understands the value of his grandparents is something that he want to keep. And certain things that we want to talk it out so we understand it. We don't resent it. We love
yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that we feel that how unfortunate they have to go through that. Now, how can we turn around and not repeat the same thing? Because like I said, people make mistakes, but those mistakes don't make us. So
exactly.
we have to make sure that we understand what is the mistake, and let it go, release it, get
Mm,
it out, and connect, communicate. That's why I love Toastmaster, because it gives me the skill of how to learn to communicate, and always invest in your learning. Always
yes,
invest in yourself,
yeah,
and surround yourself with people that lift you up, like Oprah say. You want to
yeah,
surround people that bring value to your life,
your
lift
life,
you up,
yes,
and inspire you, so you can go on and inspire other people who've been through the same shoes that you have been through. And that's just a cycle of catalyst, right? That's how
mm,
we don't lose it. We just increase that, and we just keep recycling what is
yes,
good. And that's how it makes the community better, and the world will be a better place, hopefully.
most definitely. Yeah, this is why I love storytelling. This is why I love,
Yes.
sharing stories. There is
There's
always
no lack.
something.
of story out there. And there's
No, there isn't.
no need for fiction because
That's
imagination is
right.
good.
That's right. And there's
Imagination
always,
is good, but right, yeah,
yeah, there's always something to learn. There's always something to glean. You
right,
know, your story may be so different from Leah's, but there's something within her story that I'm sure you can connect with. You need to buy the book. It's called Do Not Miss the I Did Not Miss the Boat. And it, like I said, it's beautifully written, and it's just going to take you through this journey from her grandparents all the way up, through her childhood, you guys leaving Vietnam and coming to the United States, and how you really took on this role of caretaker, with your family and helping them sort of navigate this country. And I see that quality in you now. You are very much a caretaker. That's why your community, everyone in your community, they feel nurtured, and they feel your love, and they feel your authenticity, because you're bringing all of those qualities to your community as you're connecting others. So I wanted to ask you one thing, because there was a quote in the book, and you said that something about your mother. And I thought to myself, there's so many of us like this right now, present day. But you said your mother spent a lot of time resenting the past, wishing for a future, but never being content in the present. You know
yes,
what that can do to someone? If you
yes,
if you continue just always
right,
looking beyond, like you can't
right,
find the beauty and the value in this now, even if
right.
it seems a bit unbearable or
Mm-hmm,
chaotic.
mm-hmm,
There's something there, right?
right. But she doesn't even know that, and that's a part because from outside you can see it, and I mean, I can see it. That's why I'm saying I will never unappreciate the moment I have now, because you can't just sit there and complain about the past, which you can't do, and then wishing for the future, which is not happening. If you have your kids, you have your moment, you're still alive, you're healthy, you're even not healthy. Appreciate every single breath that you're having, taking, because it will make you a lot more cheerful than complaining or not seeing the.
Mm.
I mean, I woke up this morning. Today's my birthday. It's like how special it
That's
is
right, it is. Happy
be able to
birthday.
celebrate another day. I mean, every day is a special day, but
Yes.
just to make the another milestone,
It's
that is
even more
something that,
special because it's the
right.
day you were born. And thank you so much for taking time out of your birthday to
Oh, I
be here
love to
with me
celebrate.
and my
Yes.
audience.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I love to celebrate by talking and by helping. And that's my mission right now, pretty much, is to not to write a book was hard, but to even get to the readers to help them is even harder because I, I'm not well known. I don't
Right.
have a celebrity name, attached to it. So, but I do want the book to be something that making a difference when people read it, and they will stop and pause and say, how about my family history? What value did
Yes.
I have that I want to keep,
Yes.
and what do I want to change? So that's the
Yes.
whole purpose.
Yes,
um
yes, yeah. And everyone's story is important. I don't want anyone to feel, well, there was nothing special about my
oh
family.
gosh,
This,
no, no,
no, there
no.
is, and each and every one of us,
Yeah,
we have got a story to tell. And
yeah,
so I want to invite you all to do that work, to do some of the deep work, find out a little bit about,
right,
your family of origin.
right,
Look at those patterns that were there. Look and reflect on the family now,
yeah,
and how you guys communicate with each other and engage and
right,
interact, and all of that, so that we can work towards having healthier families and communities,
No.
right, together.
Right.
And
I
so
want to
this,
say that it does not have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be in
no,
jail like you
no,
did, or it doesn't have
no,
to be like crossing the ocean like I did. It can be simply that you are in hurt because somebody you love is having COVID, or somebody or
yes,
right now is sick, or somebody
yes,
you care dearly that is living somewhere far that you can't reach out to them, and you can't just so many different level of um of pain and trauma we're
yes,
experiencing. It might not be the same things,
yeah,
but pain is pain. When you suffer is suffer, and the side effect
yeah.
is the same. It's not happy, and it's wishful thinking and it's regrets, and those bad side effects. That's what we want to address that, and we want to find a way that we can connect, and how that we can actually move on without having a cannonball dragging on our feet. That's the same side effect for
I
every
love
one
that.
of us.
I love that. I love that. And something that you did so well in this book, and I want to also remind everyone of when you're writing, a story, your story. Um, like you said, it doesn't all have to be all traumatic or whatever, but you're
Yeah.
painting a picture of a time and place. And it could be that love story of your parents or
Mhm.
your grandparents, all of these different things. But you painted this beautiful picture of Vietnam, and the region that you were in, and the community where you live. And so that's why I say you really took the reader on this journey with you. And so you all are in for a really a treat when you read this book. It's a quick read, but you will become connected to Leah after reading this book. So to purchase the book, you can go to her website at leatran.com. And I know that you have a promotion going on right now. I know I'm going to be interviewing
Yes.
with Leah tomorrow in her community, because she loves tying in what she does with outreach work for nonprofit organizations. So we're going to be talking about a project with my organization, but tell them about what you're doing right now.
Okay, so for the month of October, which is my birth month, I want to dedicate a portion of the profit of the book to find, feed, and restore. That is the organization that help liberating homelessness. They provide trailers for family with children, and during this time is such a difficult time that if anybody can extend a hand to do a little helping, I'm sure they would appreciate that. So it's just really relevant because my family came to this country. We were found, we were fed, and we were restored. So I want to
Mm,
help give that second chance for people that who need it right now. And
yes,
I can't wait to
yes.
feature you. And I want to say one more thing that I forgot. Oh, yeah. For all the things that you say about me, I would love to have you put it on the review on my either my Amazon or my website, because
Definitely.
yes, if anyone is reading my book, please, if you see any value in it, please,
Yeah.
please spread the word, pass it on, give us as a gift. Thanksgiving, Christmas is here.
Yes.
We all need
Yes.
gifts. And
Yes.
if it
Yes.
can lift anybody up and see that we can help anybody, it would be a great joy for me to hear what you just said. And you really, really made my day, my birthday, best
So
gift ever.
happy. I know how important reviews are.
Yes,
So I
you are an
understand
author
that.
yourself. Yes, yes.
Yes,
I'm a
yes,
brand
yes.
new author, so I'm learning too.
But there's definitely, you can definitely see, your resilience, carry through in this book. And then to see where you are now and the work that you're doing. This is what it's all about. And so I always talk about that Phoenix rising moment where we realize what happened to us actually happened
Yeah,
for us and
yeah,
for others. And
right.
so you have definitely been displaying that in the work that you're doing, and you all are going to see that in the book. So thank you again, Leah, for being here and spending part of your birthday with us.
I want to thank you for the shout out. Thank you for reading my book, and thank you for the
Definitely.
opportunity to talk to your audience. It's really
Yeah.
special, and I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow on my
I'm looking
platform.
forward to it as
So I am
well.
looking for
Definitely.
stories too. I love stories, and I think we can learn so much from other people's stories. So don't ever underestimate the power of your story. I learned
Right.
it the hard way. I didn't think much of it for a long time, and all my
Yeah.
friends, and I think you are one of them. I watch and I model to people who really know what they're doing, and I never thought so much about my story, but I'm glad that it's out, and I am
Yes.
hoping that I can hear your story. Everybody else's stories is important.
Yes, most definitely. So again, thank you guys for joining us for another What's Your Story? I will be back again in a couple of weeks. Look out for information about my next guest, and we will see you soon. Be well.
Thank you.